Let's get started.
Sure.
I want to introduce you to Beth Blackmore. Beth is our presidential upline, and I want you to hear her story. I want you to hear a little bit about who she is, what she is. So, Beth, let's get started with basics. Who were you before LifeWave and network marketing? Just
Well,
a little bit.
sure. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a journey over the past couple of years. So, coming from 23 years in the HR corporate world, government, high tech, I was an HR professional. And then, with things going on in my life, I no longer shared the same values as my employer. And so, left that and really wanted to pursue a coaching business to help people with their health. And their mindset. So I became a health and empowerment coach in 2022. And really, this was after my own health journey and discovering that, I was sabotaging my own health. And so I really started to prioritize my health and wanted to help other people do the same thing because I felt if I could do it, other people could do it. And I wanted to share that experience with other people. Then, through my networks, through my connections in the business world that I was starting, as a coach, I was introduced to Diane Hunt, who is currently a presidential director with LifeWave. We had met through a mutual business coach that we've been using for quite a few years. And she reached out to me. Little did I know that she had anything to do with LifeWave, that I was going to have anything to do with LifeWave. I was really concentrating my new career with launching a new group coaching membership. I was doing one-on-one coaching, I was doing group coaching, and I was about to launch a new membership program. And so, when she approached me about LifeWave and these patches, I really didn't want anything to do with it. I knew that it was likely going to be a distraction for me, and I just wasn't ready for it. I didn't know what I didn't know. Meanwhile, she knew that this could be a great tool in my toolkit as a coach. And so it took her about 2.5, 3 months to get my attention. And when she finally did, we committed to a date to talk much like this on a Zoom call. But by that time, I had to have watched some kind of video or, a presentation she was going to send me. So I thought, okay, I've put this poor lady off enough, and not that she was bothering me, not that she was pestering me. I was just super focused on other things in my life. And so I took a look at this video. We got on a call and I could finally see what she saw and how this was going to be a benefit to, not only my coaching career, but my life, my health, my family's health, and those around me. And I knew that I could probably make more of an impact with this phototherapy than I could with my coaching business. Now, that took me a little while. That evolution to really understand what I had my hands on wasn't immediate. But I signed up, I started patching. So this was May of 2024, so about 15, 16 months ago now. And to be honest, I signed up not with the support of my husband. I did not have even the finances to put more than 1 month order in. And in fact, I was sharing my screen with Diane Hunt and Rachel Maurice, who I had also enrolled during that call. Dr. Rachel Maurice, a good friend of mine, who saw the vision right away. And I stopped sharing my screen because my card declined. Like my first order of LifeWave, my card declined. They didn't know that. They didn't know that until recently, but I stopped sharing my Zoom screen because I was hosting the Zoom call. And I thought, oh gosh, this is embarrassing. And I got out another credit card and put that through, put my first order through. And at the time, you could sign up as a brand partner for 1 month. And I did, but I split that first pack with my mom. So she got, she got 15 patches and I started with my 15 patches and she started to see results right away. And I thought, really, is this really happening? Like, so we're doing this? Like, if you're starting to see results, then I'm not going to be able to turn away from this and not share it. And so, while my health benefits weren't as profound as my mom's, I knew that if she was starting to see benefits, so right away, her knee pain was gone. She was going to physio 3 days a week. And the physiotherapist noticed, improvement in her knee and mobility and less pain. And so did she. And then better sleep. I also noticed better sleep, and this lower back pain compression issue that I had had for years also dissipated. And I thought, oh, okay, well, we have our hands on something pretty significant here. And so the
So,
more, Yes,
Oh, I was going to say, so I'm hearing that your first impressions took a while to get through, but your
yes,
first mindset shift sounds like it came almost with your mom,
it
and
did.
then some of your own
That's
journey
right.
of seeing it. So,
Yeah, and that's why I think, sharing it with people you love and people in your life is so important because you never know when you are going to experience the benefits yourself. And meanwhile, you're sitting on this miracle that could transform someone else's life relatively quickly. So,
so I'm curious, how did that? What was the biggest sort of shift, or maybe there was a two or three things that shifted you into the business mindset with it then?
yeah. Okay. So it was definitely knowing that I had my hands on something that was going to change my mom's life relatively quickly. So that the fact that I actually shared this with Rachel Maurice, a good friend of mine, who, had left her anesthesiologist position with COVID a couple of years ago and really changed her trajectory in her life. She saw the vision right away. So again, it's sharing with people and not kind of hiding it until you have something profound to share. So just genuinely, authentically sharing with people what you have discovered, even before you've maybe started patching. But I brought Rachel on a call for Diane to explain it to us at the same time. And Rachel saw the vision before I did, and then I
Mhm.
thought,
Yes.
oh, okay. So I just thought I thought she was going to be, asking these scientific, difficult questions, wanting to understand the technology, which she did. But she also saw the benefit that this phototherapy patch could be for someone. And so those two things were happening relatively quickly for me. And while I was straddling, because I had clients that were waiting for this membership with my group coaching membership. And so I was straddling these two things. Meanwhile, there's a group chat going on because we had signed up. Rachel's on board. She had signed up somebody, Diane Hunt, who's my sponsor. I'm seeing all these questions fly and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, what am I doing? Am I doing this coaching thing or am I doing this LifeWave thing? Because it seemed to be really taking off quickly and I'm trying to I'm trying to resist. I was still trying to resist going full bore with LifeWave because I was new to
And
direct sales.
what do you think you were resisting? I'm curious.
I guess I was resisting the fact that I was out of my comfort zone. I didn't know really how network marketing and direct sales worked. I knew that the product was amazing, but I didn't know the ins and outs of potentially launching this business and making something of it. I was fairly new to entrepreneurship as it was, in
Yeah.
terms of my own coaching career. And I thought, okay, I think I've got a good handle on this. I've got my website out, I've got offerings, I've got programs, I've got one-on-one clients, I've got group coaching clients. What are we going to do? Are we going to shift everything over here and concentrate on this direct sales, this business in a box where I'm trying to make a Beth Blackmore business over here? But I knew also that because Rachel was so gung ho and I had this amazing leadership with Diane Hunt as my sponsor and other people super excited about it, including my mom, who was starting to see these amazing. I thought, okay, well, this is a major sign that I really need to shift my focus and concentrate on leveraging what I've got my hands on. So, I mean, it was probably June, I would say. Like, I really, for the first couple of weeks while my mom was having amazing results, I was starting to experience amazing results. The business side of it really didn't get launched, I would say, until probably mid-June. And that's when I decided I'm putting my coaching membership on hold. I just put it on hold. Meanwhile, I had a sales page up, I had a new app created, and I thought, no, I'm going to leverage this opportunity because there was such a massive wave of momentum with what I was seeing in terms of, Rachel sharing it out with people that were getting
Mhm.
incredible results. With the amazing support we had with Diane, we were on this group chat and it seemed like, no questions were off limits. We were getting a lot of great support, including from our upline. And so everything was in place for us to make this work and for me to make it work.
So once you decided you were going to launch the business part of it, kind of what were the core elements? What was the biggest thing that you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do as you got started back then? Maybe
Yeah.
different than what you do today, but how did you get started? That's a big
Yeah. Yeah.
question people ask.
For me, because I was marketing myself and branding myself on social media, because I was launching into this coaching career and people didn't know who, Beth Blackmore was. They didn't, know what my services were. I had been working with social media fairly consistently on branding my services. So that actually was a big shift because yes, while phototherapy and these light patches are on this under this bigger umbrella of health, this was going to be new because I was no longer concentrating on bringing people into my coaching programs. It was actually shifting towards this light modality that was going to impact more lives than my coaching career. And so for me, it was actually making the decision to come out promoting the phototherapy patch online because that's how I was gaining
Mm.
business. Um, but also creating a list. I mean, making a list of people in my life, whether they're on social media or not, and sharing it authentically and excited about what I had my hands on and wanting to share it with as
When you
many
say
people as I could.
when you say sharing authentically, what do you mean by that?
I mean, sharing my experience. So, sharing my excitement in what I had my hands on, what I had discovered, sharing my mom's powerful testimonial, sharing Rachel's mom's powerful testimonial because within 3 weeks, her doctor had lowered her thyroid medication that she had been on for 30 years, like halved it, like she just had amazing testimonials. So that was what was exciting was it wasn't necessarily about me and my powerful testimonial. It was about people in my life that I had seen, either if I had shared the patches directly or if there were stories of other people, borrowing the belief, borrowing those powerful testimonials of other people and
Oh, I love
sharing
that.
what this patch is doing for them.
I love that. Boring belief. I've never heard
Yeah,
anybody put it that way. Maybe I have, but not certainly not recently.
right.
I think that's a beautiful thing because one of the things I wanted to kind of talk to you about was the tools you use, and we're going to get onto that later, but sharing and borrowing the belief is truly a brilliant way to put that. I love that.
Mhm.
What in your daily routine, what was your sort of structured activities as you got started and you were building?
Yeah. Okay. So first off, it was definitely creating a list of people I knew in my life that I could share this with. People that I knew were suffering from a health perspective and finding testimonials, finding powerful stories that I could share with them they would see, oh yeah, that's what's in it for me. So customizing what I would share out, not just kind of a cookie cutter approach. Um, and just being, calling up people, voice messaging people, like kind of the tangible steps I would do, and just keeping it super brief, not expecting, there was no expectation that I needed to go into detail with what this patch was all about and all the scientific lingo. And, I knew I
Oh,
didn't
you
have to
didn't
be an
have to be an
expert.
expert?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. I think it was about the excitement about sharing something that I knew could help them, and then, inviting them to a call, inviting them to a Zoom call. I wasn't doing Zoom calls then at the time, but I had a lot of different recordings that I really gravitated to that really resonated with me. So whether it was inviting them to a live call, but back then, I'm going to say that there weren't as many live calls as there are
Hmm.
today. Like pretty much there's a live call for our particular upline almost every day.
Yeah.
But sharing recordings, whether it's a short recording, like a 15-minute recording, because but that person with 4 kids doesn't have time to watch an hour-long recording, sending them a 15-minute, getting their commitment to watch it. So I think it's really important that if they're open to wanting to learn and be open to learning about this phototherapy technology. Okay, if I send you, a 15-minute video, would you have time to watch it today? So I feel like getting their commitment has worked really well instead of just sending it all in one foul swoop, not knowing if they're even interested, not knowing if they're going to commit to watching a 15-minute video and you're not sure where to follow up with them or how to follow up with them because it's now in a black hole. Um, so opening that door, being super simple about what you want to share, being excited about it, and then asking them, committing them to a 15-minute overview or, an hour overview. If you're saying, you know what, I heard this powerful call last night, you've got to
Yeah.
check it out. The testimonials are amazing. Do you have an hour that, you could watch this replay and we'll catch up? Let me know. Or actually, I'm more specific than that. I do try to set the appointment with them committing to watching something, knowing that they're busy, but in the next 2 days, would you be able to commit to this? I'll send this to you and then we can catch up on Wednesday. So being specific. And then, people aren't, they're committing to, just like Diane did with me. I think that's actually what worked with me in the end, was that she was reaching out, she was sending me things. I was replying, but not committing to watching anything. And then finally, it was that commitment that I gave her, that I was going to be watching a video and she was setting an appointment with me on the Friday. It was a Friday. And I knew I had to watch that video before I got on the phone with Diane.
So, okay, that makes sense. Now, once you're following up, they've watched the video, you're following up in that 48 hours, and I love that you preset that appointment. I think that's key in
Yeah.
terms of moving business forward at a maybe a higher, faster rate kind of thing. Once you do that follow up with them, what do you do on that follow up? Do you
So the follow-up is typically me reaching out by message. So it's not necessarily setting an appointment like a Zoom call or an appointment where we're talking live, but they're expecting me to follow up with them in some way. So if it's a voice message, usually to them saying, did you have an opportunity to watch the video? What was your biggest takeaway? Do you think this would be something you're interested in? Like asking them a more of a direct question than saying, what did you think? Or did you have an opportunity to watch it? I think there's a little bit more wiggle room and they're not as
Yeah.
committed to getting back to you.
So I
Uh,
just want to clear. So what I heard you say is you specifically say what was the highlight or what really caught your
yes,
attention or
yes,
what I forget what words you used. And
yeah,
then is this something you think you'd be interested in? You have to
yes,
ask.
that's right. You
So
have to
you're doing
ask.
the ask. Okay.
Yep. And
And
sometimes I don't hear. I mean, sometimes I don't hear back. Sometimes they're not ready to commit. They're not ready to answer that question. Sometimes, yeah, if I don't hear back, it's not that they've said no. It's that, okay, in a couple days, if they haven't gotten back to me, I will reach out to them again. And maybe I'm sending them something different. Maybe I'm sending them something that I know is specific to what they might be experiencing or what I think would really resonate with them. If it's a doctor, that I think, oh my gosh, that really resonated with me. I'd love to share this video with you. The touch points are important. Follow up is so important. I've learned that, with Diane touching base with me probably 8 times before I signed up. So I get that that's all part of it. And it's not to discourage you, because I think back to, when she was trying to get in touch with me for 2.5, 3 months, I was just busy. I was just busy. I was not focused on what this
well,
could
you
potentially
don't know
do for
what you're
me.
missing out on.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. You don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
so, when you don't hear, it's not to take it personally at all. It's just people have other things going on in their life. And, there's opportunities for you to follow up in a different way. That's all.
Well, I hear you really refine in the process of that follow up. It's also a refinement of, oh, you need to hear stories about, or
Yes.
whatever it is that comes through. So,
Yes.
love that. I'm
Mhm.
curious as to what was non-negotiable for you when you decided. I mean, this is a remarkable thing that you went from director to presidential. That's three clear
Yeah.
steps up. And
Mhm.
and I know there's lots involved and we're not going to boil it all down in 5 minutes here, but
Yeah.
what was non-negotiable for you when you decided you were going for that three-stage jump, or did you decide you were going for that three-stage jump? It was just tell
Well,
us.
I knew, okay, I'll tell you. So, first of all, something about our current comp plan that we currently have in place, it's all going to change in October with enhancements, which is super exciting. Currently, it is about creating balance with this binary compensation plan. So, balancing out your legs, your teams as best as possible. I knew that I was blessed with a runner. I knew that on my right leg, that was my team leg. I had a ton of volume there. I've been so committed for let's say 14 months to leverage what I knew I had my hands on, not only phototherapy patches and the upline and the leadership and the resources and the training, but I also knew that I had a powerhouse team. And I just wanted to be able to balance out my legs as best I could in order to capitalize on the amazing compensation plan. So I have been very committed to building a team. But you know what? Actually, this brings up a really good point. So back in December, so this is probably 6 months in, I made a big shift in my mindset that it wasn't just about reaching out to people that I knew could use it from a health perspective, what I really started to attract, and before I started attracting them, it was a mindset shift. It was, I am going to attract leaders and builders to my team that have a clear vision, that are going to rank advance quickly. This was my mantra in the morning. So you talk about a non-negotiable, that was it. It was my mindset knowing that I was going to be successful in attracting leaders and builders to my team. It wasn't about the ambulance chasing and the people that, yes, of course they need it. That's foundational. Everybody needs this. But it was about really attracting people to my team that want to help people. Obviously, that's foundational, but that also have this clear vision of what we have our hands on and being able to take advantage of it. And so since that point, I think things have really shifted for me, being able to attract leaders and builders to my team. And I mean, I do that through social media, but I also do that in my confidence in sharing out, through my Zoom calls and whatnot, but also leveraging the incredible upline and their training systems and knowing that I'm coachable, knowing that I'm a sponge, knowing that I'm new, I'm a newbie at this, but, getting a lot of expertise from people around me. And so when we start, with the compensation plan, how we need balance, two managers on the left, two managers on the right, to get to manager, director, same thing. You need the balance. Senior directors, actually, you don't need the balance any longer. You need two directors on one leg or another. Well, two directors, yeah, one leg or another. And I had a couple balls in the air. I knew that this could happen a variety of different ways. There were a couple of managers that were going to be ranking up to director, and I dug down. Like, I dug down in terms of who could I support that could help rank to manager. I think this business, I mean, it's a simple model in terms of us becoming manager making machines and really helping people to become managers, which is super simple. It's having four people come on board at the core level, in terms of our enrollment
Yes.
kits or above. And so I knew that I had the volume, because then after senior director, it is all about volume, ranking up through executive director. So once you hit senior director, I think it's 10,000 points,
Yeah.
executive director, and then presidential director. So I had been at the director level since December. And meanwhile, my points were going up, but I didn't have the structure in place, meaning that I didn't have my two directors to achieve senior director. But there were a couple of things in place there, and I was digging down. So even if, people under me, directly under me, my personal enrollees weren't necessarily, digging in, I was going into the depths of my organization to help them. My big goal for Orlando, well, actually, to be honest, I wanted to achieve the rank of no, I achieved the rank of director, so I was eligible to go down to Dallas. This was in June. But then my next goal, so I had been director for quite a while, as I said, since December, and I knew the next rank for me was senior director. But I also knew that once I achieved senior director, I had enough volume that I would triple rank advance, because I just had that many
Hmm.
points, because I just kept building. I kept building. I kept building. Yes, I didn't have the structure, but I had a lot of personal enrollees. I had a lot of other people that were coming on, building their businesses, which obviously the compounding effect helps with the points. But for Orlando, I knew that I was going down to the This Is It team training, and that was in August 13th, 14th, 15th. On August 13th, there was a presidential summit. And my goal back in June was to achieve presidential director, so that I could attend the presidential summit and make that whole trip even more worthwhile. And that was a goal that I had set for myself. I didn't know how I was going to do it. It's not about how. I think it's about, having that vision in place, knowing that you're going to be successful, and then the actions will come.
Take it.
Yeah. And so it was actually, it was so close. I mean, there were a couple of different things going on with different managers leveling up to director underneath me. I didn't know how it was going to play out. And then I was in the airport. I still wasn't qualified when I had gone to the Ottawa airport on the 12th of August, because I flew in early. I made sure that if I was going to hit presidential director, and then I would be in Orlando to attend that presidential summit. In Ottawa, I had reached down to I guess 3 generations down, and I said, okay, what I knew that there was someone coming on and he was interested in the business. I said, perfect. I would like his contact information, and I'm going to reach out to him. I want him on my powerhouse team. That's exactly. I called him up and I said, I want you on my powerhouse team. I'm about to board a plane here, but I would love for you to watch my 10-minute video on this business opportunity. And so I sent that to him. And so it talks about the phototherapy patches up front, talks about the science, the patents, David Schmidt and the LifeWave business. And then it really goes into the business opportunity and what people can achieve here and what we have our hands on and why we're different than others. And he got it. He caught the vision. He signed up that day, which ranked up the manager, which ranked up my director. And by the
Director.
time I landed in Orlando, I had triple rank advanced to presidential director.
What a beautiful story.
It was
Congratulations.
amazing. Thank you.
Remarkable. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah, it is
all of it,
amazing.
all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing so many things, and I want to be taking notes, even though I'm asking the questions. So I'll have
Yeah.
to listen again and take the
Right.
notes. But what I'm hearing you say is that truly you set the vision, you set your intention, and then you lived it. And
Yeah.
that's truly, people say it's manifesting. It's not outside of you. You truly set that vision, you held it,
Yes.
and you literally flew to Orlando with that vision still
Yes.
being held and coming into fruition once you
Yes.
landed. That's beautiful. So
Mhm.
so now I need to know, what advice would you give? You have come into a network marketing scenario. You have a rank advanced to one of the top levels. I think you're
Mhm.
second from the top at this
Yes.
point. And I also want to ask you something about the new comp plan, but I'm going to lay this out first. This is remarkable for somebody who has lots of experience in network marketing, and you've done it with none.
Mhm.
And I know you've had to overcome some of the beliefs that you've had about network marketing and all that, because we've had some of those discussions. So all of that has been there. And you talked about borrowing belief when it came to the product. How did you borrow belief when it came to the business? Who influenced you? Who really inspired you to believe that this was possible? That this you could truly do this?
That's a great question. Well, first off, my business coach, Jeffrey Combs, he's the one who first introduced me to network marketing and the whole idea of a business in a box. He was very frank with me and knew that, me going off to do um, a, a business on my own as a coach was going to be challenging. That I could market a product that I believed in, that I was passionate about, and everything else is done for you in terms of network marketing. So in terms of the patents and the science and the customer service and the shipping and all of that is
Everything.
done, right? All we're doing is we are the distribution model. This is what I love about network marketing. This is what I've come to love about network marketing. Because you're right. I will be honest. I used to be cringy when I would think about network marketing. How brainwashed and manipulated was I? And I think that that's the majority of the population, unfortunately, especially in Canada. We do not have this kind of entrepreneurial spirit like the States does in some ways. It's a very entitled. Um, it's just a different way of doing business. And I don't find that a lot of Canadians are, at least in Ottawa, Canada, where, I've grown up and spent most of my career in this government town.
Mhm.
So it's a complete shift. What I love about network marketing is that we are the distribution model. We, through word of mouth, and who doesn't talk about great products and great restaurants and great service that they love, and we are earning an amazing commission for it. So, the president, the owners of this company are literally paying out to their loyal customers to get to distribute their product worldwide, right? In 84 countries, it's all through word of mouth. And I love it. Like when I think back to my HR career too, we used to have a referral program. I mean, what's different about that? You wouldn't want to refer someone to your company unless, your reputation is on the line. So they needed to be a legitimate, strong producer. It's the same thing in network marketing. I mean, you want to attract people that you want to work with. You are promoting a product that you are using yourself and are super passionate about it, and you're getting paid for it. So I just think it's a
How
win-win.
does it get any better than that?
Right. Exactly. And I mean, the fact that I can work, I went to thinking about this past year and all the different places I'm able to work. Going to up to visit my husband's family in Labrador. I'm on Skidoo, and I'm texting people and making this whole thing, roll without any kind of, sitting in a desk at home or a desk in an office. And it's complete freedom, location freedom, time freedom. I can work around my schedule in terms of what's going on with my family, being up at the cottage. And yes, so sure, I punch in a lot of hours, but I'm also going to be super successful. Like I am successful, and it's going to continue to grow. And I'm laying the foundation. So I just think it's super exciting. And then, winning an incentive trip to Mexico. I mean, that kind of blew my husband's mind. That was the first corporate event that I had actually attended, and it was an incentive trip to Mexico. I've never won anything like that. But what's super funny is that I ended up bringing the luggage down to Mexico that I had received for 15 years of service with the government. So I brought that piece of luggage down with me to this amazing 5-star luxury resort down in Mexico for five
Yeah.
days. Yeah, the irony.
No, it's a beautiful thing. Well,
Mhm.
one of the things I love, I think what I love most of all about network marketing is, and you talked about it, what you're doing, the foundational work that you're doing. And it's not even just that it's foundational, it's that everything you do today in this particular minute or hour multiplies again and again and
Yes.
again and again
Mhm.
into
Yes.
however long, right? And
Yeah.
so it's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. I want to come back and ask one thing.
Mhm.
The new comp plan that's coming out, and I truly just love it. I think it's
Mhm.
going to have some ripple and shock effects to some degree in some ways, but at the
Yes.
same time, in what you're doing and what you've built, you talked about balance and the structural balance. And my understanding is there won't be that structural requirement so much as literally volume, but there is still
Yeah.
structure in that you have to be balanced on both sides.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing or what you did, will it still serve you well in the new comp plan? That's one of my questions.
Yes, yeah, definitely it will. So, I mean, we're still going to have the two legs. It's still a binary plan. And so the fact that we encourage people to create balanced legs, because we will still be paid on a pay leg or the lesser leg, the weaker leg. Yes, what we're paid is going to differ in terms of where we are ranking, where our ranks that we achieve. And then there's different percentages depending on our rank. That's one way we get paid. Uh, but the other beautiful thing is that it's not just restricted to those two legs. So that, this third leg or the outside leg is everyone else. So other than your two top personal enrolled builders, that third leg is adding up to all your other personals. Um, and so that's not kind of left out, where I feel like now it's very structured in terms of the two legs. We're going to have a little bit more, it's going to be more lucrative, I would say, with the new
I
comp
would
plan.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think definitely the way people are encouraged to build their business now is exactly how we're going to continue to build it in the future. I think what's going to be interesting though is that um, people are going to learn pretty quickly that they won't be able to rely on the team volume, that it will be the people that really dug in and, attracted some leaders and builders to their team to be able to really leverage the new compensation plan. So it's going to discourage people from coasting, I would say, and it's going to really reward the people that have been building and digging in.
Because it's all dependent on your own personally sponsored group volume,
Right,
correct? So when
right.
you say a third leg, can you explain that a little bit further
Yeah,
for us?
sure. Okay, um, so right now, and I'm going to explain this through a report that everyone has access to now.
Okay, lovely.
Okay, great. So and I can always screen share this, but just to let you know, so the enroller team report. So this is under your back office organization enroller team report. Now so this is for, you could actually search up everybody in your organization. But the first, by default, it's the personally enrolled people that come up in that report. And then what you do is there is a column called GVU, which is global volume units, I believe. That's what it's called currently in the compensation plan. So GVU is the total volume that one has in their business. So what the enroller team report does is you can sort. So just think of your personally enrolled people, and then you do a sort on GVU, which is who are the heavy hitters? Who are your top two heavy hitters in your organization? It doesn't even matter which leg. Who are your top two? So you've identified who your top two builders are based on, you can sort by the GVU. So you put up the top and then the second. So those are your top two. Then what you can do is pull that report into Excel. It's just a button. There's just a button at the very top of that. You pull it into Excel and you eliminate those top two heavy hitters. What you're left with is everybody else in your organization, and you add them all up with their GVU. So actually doing like an auto sum in Excel. I can come and share this with your team, if we need to do a little bit of
Was
Excel.
just thinking that we'll do one of
Okay.
these one night.
Okay, because this might be just kind of flowing over people's heads. But
No,
really
we'll
what you're
get
doing,
specific one day.
yeah, okay, great. So when you eliminate the top two heavy hitters, you're left with everybody else who are personally enrolled, and you add up all their points. That is your third leg, your outside leg. That means outside from your two main
Main
legs that are
ones.
your
Yeah.
heavy hitters. Because that also, when you look at the new compensation plan, that third leg is going to be really important for how you rank up. So it's not
Mm.
just the two heavy hitters, it's actually the sum of everyone else in your organization and their GVU. It's really quite
So
interesting.
that's because when you're ranking up, the GVU is considered with your top two and all the rest to
Yes.
equal. You have to have three to equal. Is that correct? Whatever it
Well,
is.
it's
No,
actually it's interesting. But you have your own GVU, so that's
mhm.
one thing. So when you're looking at kind of rank advancing, you're looking at your own GVU, which unfortunately is going to be called something else. So the fact that I'm throwing these terms out there, I think it's going to be called QVD or something like.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah. So you have your own that you need to have a certain volume of your own. And then you look at your two other legs, your two other powerhouse legs. And then you look at this third leg, which is the sum of everybody else in your business. You're personally enrolled.
Yes.
And so it's actually those 4 points. It's your own, it's your one, two power hitters, and then the outside
The
leg.
cumulative total.
Yeah. And so to be honest, Dr. Jen, I hope that they adopt, like, her charts are amazing. She's got a really great overview about the 9 ways we get paid. For some reason, after looking at a bunch of videos, that one really clicked in for me and it's only 26 minutes. But when she talked about how you rank advance, those GVUs are going to be important for people to understand how to rank advance and the volume that's needed with those 4 different GVU legs, your own, your two powerhouse hitters, and then that third one of
Yeah.
all of the sum, because then that determines where you end up ranking. And then then there's percentages associated with where you fall with the ranking.
Yes.
So people are going to keep it, that report is going to be super important. And what I would suggest for people, even before we move over to the new compensation plan at the end of October, which is after convention, end of October, people can be pulling that report now. And what I would suggest is, those top hitters, the top 5, when you sort on GVU, those are the people that you really want to pay attention to. Those are the people you're really, really wanting to support and lead and help out, because they're going to be growing their GVU and trying
Yes.
to understand how to rank advance and the importance of, the accumulation of points in their business.
Well, and so GVU is where it's at. So the final
Yeah.
question on that is, are you still teaching 2020? 20 on left, 20 on the right? Are you doing that at all? Are
You know
you
what?
looking at it
I've
that way?
actually, okay, I have never done that. And the only reason I haven't is because that's not what I did.
Okay.
And but however, that being said, there's a caveat because I would say for the most part, people should be building that way. People should be building balanced teams. Now, people might take that literally where they're like, oh, I need 20 on my left first. And then I need 20 on my right first. Like that's not, no, right?
No.
Like you really want to be strategic with where
Yes.
your volume is. And so because that wasn't a factor for me, because I had my team volume over there, because I had two heavy hitters over on my right team, I've just been piling people over on my left. My left team is exploding because I've put
We are.
so yeah, you are. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so I think that saying that, yes, can work for the majority of people. What you're wanting to do is create balance. What you're wanting to do is strategize with your sponsor about where you put people. Like when you're new and you're signing up people, I think having a really good strategy, talking to your leader, your sponsor about what makes sense based on your structure, because you want to make sure, at least for now, until the end of October, you're creating that structure and that balance and evening out your left and your right leg. You can also cycle before you hit the first rank of manager. If you have a brand partner at the core level and above on your right, a brand partner at the core level above on your left, you're able to cycle, up to $100 a week,
Hmm.
until you're a manager. And then you open up the whole compensation plan, right? So it's important to always think about your volume. Always look in your back office and see what you've got going on there, so that you can make a really strategic decision about where you place the next person. You also want to factor in, while we don't have a crystal ball, you want to factor in people's experience, people's network, people's Rolodex of names. Like, who are these people that are coming in? Does it make sense to put them on your team leg? Does it make sense to have them blow up on your personal leg potentially? So really having those strategic decisions before you sign people up, and recognize that, if there are oversights, you have 5 days, to work with customer service to change them over to the other leg, but then that's it. Um, so yeah, I mean, 20 left, 20 right, yes, but I think it's still about strategy. It's always going to
Yeah.
be about balance.
You
Yes, of
have to take it
course.
all into account.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. That's right.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So, quick question. What would you do differently knowing what you know now? Is there anything you would do differently getting started or you
Yes,
wish you would have done? What would you do differently?
definitely.
What would you change?
Okay. So I feel I came in because I was focusing on, my other business. I wasn't prioritizing this one. So I
Yeah.
didn't get to know the comp plan. I didn't get to know the strategy and the structure.
Mhm.
Um, there were certain decisions that I made initially that I would not have done. So while I've had wonderful success and I will continue, as a leader, I've learned from my mistakes, and I want to work with people to be able to create a solid structure, a solid foundation to their business for long-term success. It's
Yes.
not about the short-term success. It's really creating this foundation at the beginning and being, it's hard. It was hard. I think, like, I'm not sure how I would have done it differently because I still didn't know in those early days when I signed up that I was going to be doing this as a business.
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know so but I think any as leaders, if I'm talking to a room full of leaders, I would want to encourage you to support your downline, support your personally enrolled and their personally enrolled and their personally enrolled as best you can, with informing them of the comp plan. I mean, not the whole comp plan. I just mean structure and what they
The
need to think
basics.
about. The basics, exactly. Because otherwise you're ignorant, you're naive to setting yourself up for success down the road. And again, I mean, it's with a caveat. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know how people are going to necessarily do, but I think us knowing um, what could happen and what we have influence over at the beginning will be super helpful for anyone who's new signing up and creating that solid foundation for their business. So
Yes.
that's on us. That's on us as strong leaders to
Yes.
impart knowledge, impart our experience with leaders that are coming on to set them up for long-term success. That's what I would say.
Well, I think it's a given that we're all going to share the product. It's too amazing and miraculous to not.
Yes,
But
yes.
the beautiful thing is to also be able to acknowledge and understand understand that in the background is this compensation plan that's running. And I know it's like the goal for me is always, let's make sure that we have you in the right position to
Yeah,
maximize the comp plan. So that'd be the
exactly.
biggest thing. Right.
Yeah,
Two more questions. One is,
sure.
what would be one of the most influential or impactful books you've read in the last 14 months? I'm assuming you have.
I have, yes. Okay, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. So while it's not new information to me, by is it John Maxwell? No, Power of the Subconscious Mind. It's just every page has tangible ways that you can reprogram your mind and set
Oh,
yourself up for
fabulous.
success. Yes. So it's an easy read, but I find even going back and rereading chapters as I'm going, because you can really implement those tips and tricks and techniques right away. And I know the power of the mind, but I think it's constantly being conscious of those decisions we make and the thinking that's going on in our heads,
Yes.
um,
That we don't know about. Yes.
that we don't know about. Exactly. So that's why it has to be deliberate thinking all the time, all the time. And so even just reading that book and with those tangible tips and tricks, I think it's powerful. And that's when I started to make a shift in my business. Mhm.
I'm hearing that. It
Yeah.
sounds like I'm so the power of the subconscious mind. I'll make
Yes.
sure and look that up. And
Yes.
my last thing that I'm going to ask you is, what would you tell the new person starting today? What is the maybe the top three most important things that they need to be aware of or pay attention to?
Okay, so I know I'm going to say this. I know that I have been successful because I am coachable and tapped into the amazing leadership and upline.
Okay.
So immersing yourself in as much information and resources and overviews and um, as you can, and there's no lack of resources, right? Like I
No,
mean, it's can
I
be
don't even want to go
overwhelming.
into it because I would normally ask that, but it's like I don't even want to ask because there's so much.
Right,
So it's like,
right. So much, so much. So I feel like me being a sponge from the get-go has really helped me to immerse myself in this business, to be comfortable and confident in sharing it out. Because, and again, the power of the mind, it's all about repetition. And so once it gets ingrained, I mean, you become more confident. You have built the
yes,
belief. So it's immersing yourself in the overviews, in the information, subscribing to the Dr. Jens, to the Dr. Stacy's, to getting on as many overview calls and team training calls as you can, because we know, especially for newbies, we know that this is like a
yes.
roller coaster ride, and like in the same day, right? You're
Yes.
super excited, like in the
I'm
same
in, I'm
day.
out, and I don't know where I am.
It's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. So it's like just
Yes.
hang on tight. And what I love too is when because I get in these dips where I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like, whoa, in the, what's it called? In the depths of it. And I,
Yeah.
and I put on a team training call,
Same.
or maybe it's reading the book, maybe it's reading The Power of the Subconscious, like something that is all about personal growth. This is, what do they say, this is like a personal growth business wrapped up in a MLM or something like that. I don't know, there's some
Yes.
kind of saying, where it is about personal growth, it is about coming out of your comfort zone. Yeah, it's all uncomfortable, sure, it's all uncomfortable, but when you're able to check off these the chicken list and the people potentially that you're afraid to reach out to, or you're getting some rejection or some no's. I mean, it honestly, I feel, is just building you up for bigger and greater things. And so if you're in the lows, it's tapping into a team training call, getting on a powerful overview call where you're going to hear these amazing testimonials, and you're going to think, well, what the heck? This isn't going to stop me. Look what's happened to Bob Terpstra, this pair
Exactly.
quadriplegic. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. So it's all normal, I think, to experience the highs and the lows, but there are so many tools to help us along in this journey.
So what I'm really hearing is it's self-leadership.
Yes.
In all my years in network marketing, always the leaders are on the stage saying, no, it's all about personal growth. It's all about personal growth.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
just kind of go like, what? Come on, I've made my 12,000 phone calls this year. What do you mean it's about personal growth? And so
Right.
it's like, yes, it's about taking the actions and the discipline, but it's also the self-leadership to
Yeah,
lead yourself out of the abyss when you get there, to lead
totally.
yourself out of what it is that might be defeating you. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of stuff like that. Beth, I
Yes.
can't thank you enough. This has
Oh,
been
my pleasure.
so beautiful and enriching,
Good.
and I think this is going to be something that we all get to learn from. So thank you for sharing all your wisdom, for your learning, and well, we just look forward to following you because you're our presidential leader. So
Yeah. Oh, thank you
we're
so much,
we're
Melody.
looking forward to following you all the way to the top and then some, and looking forward to sharing some very
Coming
fun times
along with
around
me.
the beaches of the world.
I love it. I love it. I
You too.
appreciate your time and I appreciate you interviewing me today. And yeah, I love it. I'm here. I'm here for everybody, in terms of my support, my leadership, my experience, whatever I can do to support, I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.